Hey everyone, it's Walter from the Blu-Grit Garage. That's the banner from the first No Name Nationals back in 2022. We're spectators then, we're spectators for 2023. Thank you all for subscribing. We reached our 500 subscribers, so we're going to bring our 66 to the 2024. I'm getting it to pass the AHRA spec because this is an autocross car. I had to, I don't know if you can see that, had to put longer studs. I decided just to do it with the open end. They can just look at it and I don't have to pull the studs off it. And I really didn't want to cut 20 of them just so that I can have a capped nut on it. So, and right now I'm doing the fronts. And I already got this rotor off. Let's come over here. While pressing the studs, and where my press is, I have to stand on top or walk over a engine block and connect it to a transmission, and it was kind of tight space. And one of the times I went to get the phone, I put this rotor down, and then when I got back, one of those big heavy blocks fell on it, dinged it here. That's the one I'm worried about. A little bit of one here. Since rotors get hot and cool, especially, I was thinking maybe later on taking it back on the road course when I put the V8 swap in it eventually. I didn't want to even mess with that, so I just got a new rotor. And it wasn't too bad. It's a Granada rotor. With our discount, it was like 60 bucks. And me being OCD, I like to keep things looking nice, so I taped over and I clear coat it with VHT clear so that you don't get all that rust there. Sprayed a little bit in the fin so whenever you take things off, it doesn't get crusty. I painted the back side also. So, and that's for the other side. This side, I'm still taking the rotor off. Like I said, the back's done. Just kind of like a hint for Mustang brake jobs. Now, this is 68 to 71 brakes. It just has two bolts that you pull out. You can see the little rubber protector here. It slides in and out right there. So that's the sliding type of caliper. It doesn't have the drive and slide. It has two bolts. And I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of tough with the camera. There's a little cover here. And if you can undo these two bolts, and there's two other bolts on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that. And you can take the cover off before you clamp and compress it, because sometimes you get in a hurry. You compress it, and then you'll catch this heat shield and kind of smash the heat shield in because you're not on the back of the caliper there. So yeah, just take the cover off, take the bolts off, compress it, pulls right out. There's these little anti-rattle clips here. Let me see if I get better lighting. They come through the pad, and then you have these little clips, and usually you just have to get a new kit because those clips, after the heat cycles, they just fall apart. I'm gonna go on the other side and show you the other anti-rattle clips because they're easier to see. Well, I can see them here. Need more hands. These are the anti-rattle clips for the back pad, and there's just a bolt on the back side. Each of these, you can take that off, and when I slid the caliper off on the other side, I just slid the caliper off, and this is all still there. One thing might help some of you out. You make sure you use the disc brake quiet on the back metal side of the pads. You can see some of it squishing out from the last time. And then between the metal and the piston on the back side of the caliper, and then use this brake lubricant on the slides. Don't use anti-seize or anything like that. After a while, the heat, it kind of cooks it, and you'll actually have your calipers not slide. They will bind. So two different things: the lubricant and the anti-squeak. And don't put anything on the friction surface. And when you put everything back together, get some brake clean on a paper towel, clean paper towel, and clean everything off on the rotor before you get going. And like I said, I'm pulling this off. I'm going to put longer studs, and we should be good. Just kind of rambling a few things I found out. I got these at a speed shop, and you can actually get stainless steel washers. I kept getting the washers from, I don't know, like Mr. Gasket makes some. You can pick them up at maybe an AutoZone or O'Reilly's, and you use them one time and they just kind of squish and lose their shape. The stainless steel lasts a little bit longer. The other thing is, you can put cardboard down for your tools so you don't scratch up your tools so much. And whenever you take your caliper off, you see I got braided steel lines. The braided steel lines don't flex as much. You get a little bit better brake feel. But when you pull the caliper off, just hang it off a coat hanger, but loop the coat hanger around real good. This one's probably not big enough, and what happens sometimes if you go overnight, it'll start letting go, and next thing you know, your caliper's hanging on the brake line, and that's the whole purpose of hanging it up. You don't want anything hanging on your brake line. And should have prepped a little bit better. Get the old wallet out, and I don't know if you can see that, Performance Parts Plus. It's in Granite City, Illinois. That's one of the old-time speed shops where I got all the lug nuts and the washers. And, you know, real nice guy. And I actually brought one stud from the front and one stud from the back. These are Granada rotors. Even though these are Mustang brakes, at the time the first time I did this, the Mustang rotors were about $115, $120, and the Granada rotors were $45. So the pad kind of goes over the top just a little bit, but you're only talking maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So for that amount of savings, you buy two of them. That's the way I went. I just got Granada rotors, and they fit. There's a let me go on the other side. The only thing you have to do, there's normally a piece that bolts on here, kind of sticks out a little bit. I guess it's if you over grease it, it catches the grease. You have to take that off for the Granada rotors. But these are 68 Mustang brakes at the time I built the car. You can swap from 65 to 68, and then midway through they decided no, 65 and 66. So these brakes were, you know, they turn around, and you know, the way the rules are, the brakes were illegal, but I can swap from disc to drum. I mean, from drum to disc. I just couldn't swap 4-piston to, which is the earlier ones, to single piston. I never pushed it, but you know, they also have a rule that says no illegal modifications to allow a legal modification. Well, I changed the spindle to make it work, but if they're not mechanics and nobody catches up on that, you know, but right now with the class I'm on, and you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. I think I switched classes maybe 3 different times from rule changes. But these are, like I said, it's a 68 to about 71, I think 72 maybe, 73. Like the Mustangs, they got bigger, but actually the Mustang, the Torino were the same up to, let's say, 72, and then 73 they got bigger. The only difference you have to do, you get the bigger outer tie rod end, because the earlier ones, the taper was a lot smaller, but it bolts onto the same sleeve and everything, so you're good to go there. So hope that helps somebody out there. Hope I'm not rambling too much. I got my you can see the coat hanger here, the 750-pound front springs. I really like the KYB gas adjust shocks. I mean, they went up in price now, but I think when I bought them, they were $100 or $119 for a set of 4. So where are you going to get that kind of deal? That's why I like these old Mustangs. You know, parts are cheap. You don't get a lot of money for them. I mean, you do, but you know, not compared to, say, a Challenger or a Charger. But that's because the Challenger and Charger parts are so expensive. I'd rather have something that I can, you know, drive, not worry about so much. Parts availability. The old joke is you can have an old Mustang door hinge, and you can build the rest of the car around a door hinge, because you can get just about everything. So, hope you got something out of it. Hope you are out there having fun with your cars. Thank you very much.